Alright, let's get started. We're going to paint a little elf today. He is a fun little guy. We'll start with my ceramic coat natural beige for flesh tone today. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch angle brush. I'm just going to go in here and start base coating where the flesh tone is. I've already painted or drawn my pattern on here. And we'll just quickly go through here. And fill it in, basically. It's like coloring in the pages once you have the pattern. And the kit comes free with the pattern, or it's just a line drawing, comes free with the kit. But that's all you need for this little guy is line drawing, and then, like I said, fill in the pattern here. Or not pattern, fill in the lines. Okay, now I'm going to grab a little bit smaller brush to do this other ear, because I do want to stay in the lines. I'm going to smooth this out a little though first. I can see kind of like a glare on it. Let me lay this down for just a second, and we'll get a little number 2 flat, a 2 round brush, and fill in his ear here and his neck. Got a little bit of neck showing. Now I haven't drawn the hair on yet just because the hair is on top of his flesh tone there. So I will do that as we go. This is a little bitty bit of his neck. These really don't take a long time to complete. Maybe, I'd say we should be able to get this done within an hour. And that's pretty good from beginning to finish for as detailed as this one is going to be. Well, y'all bear with me just a second. I'm going to lower this a little so maybe you can see a little better. I'm so sorry. Try to get in closer there. Well, I can get it to tighten now. Hope that's better. It just seems like the lighting is off. I can't seem to get that right, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so we're going to move on. Like I said, it's kind of like painting in the coloring pages. I'm going to base coat his tree in a darker green. It's called pine green. Again, by Delta Ceramic Coat. If I can get this to open, get some out. All right, let's see. I need to rinse that brush off there. Thinking I might need to move my lighting around behind me now. Seems like the different times of the day I record, the lighting is different, and I know that's true, but I mean it just I've got one of those big ring looking lights, and you'd think that would be kind of the same all day, Okay, so we're going to go in beside his ear here. And I keep calling him a him. You could probably turn him into a girl fairly easy, just change the hair. Need a smaller brush for that. I'm going to get it close. And like I said, the little line drawing that you're going to get to make your project will have all these lines on it, so you just transfer them to your piece. You can do that by just drawing them if you want to, or you can also use a piece of transfer paper, like tracing paper. Goodness, I can't get my words out today. Some days it's like that. Now I'm using this smaller brush to go along the edges here, and then I'll come back with my bigger brush. I'm going to go all the way down with this. I don't need to, and I'll show you why in a little bit, but I'm going to just to make sure I don't go too short, if that makes sense. Okay, I think we've got everything we need here. We'll cut that arm off. It won't be in the long run, but it will be for now. Now we'll just go back and fill in the rest. You will have to come back and do touch-up, that's normal, but for the most part, this makes it fairly simple, I think. Alright. Now again, I do typically paint the sides on these. I paint the sides because when you cut with the laser, it does create it's a smoky smell. And this, when you paint or seal it, the smell goes away. So I tend to paint it. Okay, there, we've got that and that. And I think, I think I want him to be kind of bright, so I'm going to stick with my velvet teal. That's one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to do, let's see here, get my brushes out of the water. I'm going to go along the line again just to make sure I don't go over with this smaller brush. Like I said, it's just like painting in the lines when you get the kit. And just so you guys know, I always paint the ones that I call the rejects. They may be a darker edge than I like to send out, or there's not anything really wrong with them. It's just I don't prefer to send them out, if that makes sense. They'll have a slight imperfection. In this case, I had the laser dialed in wrong, and so it made the edges a little darker than I like. You can use dentured alcohol to get that off, or you can do what I'm doing, which is paint over the edge. It will do the same thing. And once it's painted, it's fine. It's just as an unpainted piece. And there will be, you know, some that are darker. We're going to stick with my old trusty blue here. And again, I'm using the number 2 round. It's a fairly small round brush, actually. I don't know if you can see that there. I'm hoping it's not too dark. It seems off. Of course, it's later in the afternoon here. I need to learn to adjust my light accordingly. I'm just following along the neck. And if I got here, let me see how this goes. Okay. That kind of goes up like that. I need to bring this down just a hair more. Like I said, I just drew mine on, so I kind of winged it. That's where his arm goes. And there we go. Alright. I really don't have to use this smaller brush to paint in the middle, but I'm just going to do it since I've already almost got it done. Even with me painting with this teeny brush, we're just rocking along there. Okay. Now that I'm going to pull out some of my red that I'm going to use. Again, these are my favorite colors. I like the Tom Pete and the Mendocino, which is what I'm going to use on this one. To me, it's just a little bit brighter than the Tom Pete, and I hope I'm saying that right. But I'm going to go along the edges with this smaller brush again. And you can see how quick these actually come together. It really doesn't take long. To me, I guess this red is more of a retro red. And I like retro reds and blues together. Always have. Probably always will, I guess. Let's see. Okay, we got that done. And then I'll come back with my 1/4 inch angle brush, what's left of it. When I used to do a ton of yard art, these brushes take a beating because it is wood, but it's it's MDO, it's medium density overlay that I used, and it's like what outdoor sign users used to use many years ago before all the LED and stuff like that. And it seems to be rougher on your paintbrushes. I'm not sure why. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to come along down here where his little skirt is. We're just kind of going along the edges. Of course, these are so small, I'm just going to paint these with this brush. Well, what color do I want to use on his tights? I think I'll go with a lighter blue. I think I have a Caribbean over here. Caribbean blue, however they say it. Okay. So we got that. And then, yep, Caribbean blue. Go with that down here for his stockings. And these are basically going to fill in from right here over. I'm trying not to touch that red. I'm trying to be real careful because it's so wet. What makes this kind of nice is the ease of it, because when you add these extra little pieces that go on top, like I've got over here, it just really makes it easy to paint. Not that it already isn't. This is super easy to paint. But adding this dimension to it just keeps it easy. To me, anyway, I think. I get some of this red out of this brush here. I want to smooth this out a little. It's a little jagged there. Okay. Now, honestly, think just to tie my colors together, I'm going to go back up here to the blue. I'm going to go back up here to this blue, what color was that called? Velvet teal. And I'm going to take this Caribbean blue, the lighter blue. I'm going to use my number 2 brush, and I'm just going to follow kind of along the edge with a line. This is just something I'm doing extra. You don't have to do it. It's just to give it, to tie the colors together. Now, of course, if you use your basic reds and greens, then it's not really necessary. But I thought to tie this color that's down here to bring it up. That would be cute. So, what color for his boots? I think I'm going to do those red too. I do. Now here I'm going to use my hemostats to get a hold of those. I use these all the time for painting these tiny pieces. To me, it just makes life So much easier. And I'm going to paint these red. Get as much of the sides as I can get right now. And then I'm probably going to come back with a second coat on those. And we'll do the same thing here. Except I'm going to go back here and just add a little. I'm not trying to add red. And get all that out of my brush. There we go. A little bit of a second coat. You don't have to get quite as close, just let it kind of blend in. And at least get the majority of it. This red needs a second coat. I know you might not can see it from there. And I apologize again for this. It looks dark to me. Maybe it's just my monitor is not turned up very good. Okay, let's see. Red typically requires more than one coat. I guess it's the pigments in it. Can't cover as well. Okay. Now down here, I'm going to use this smaller brush and over this again. Just kind of quick. Quick and easy. I'll straighten that line out because that's bothering me. I did not color inside the lines on that. Okay, so smooth that out. See if this is still going to be wet on the side here. And go back and paint a little bit better on the sides because I didn't get down in there. And then I'm going to take one final swipe on the top. Okay, we're going to sit his little shoes right there. Oh, I forgot to paint his hands. I need to go do that before my blush tone dries and on my expensive palette. That's what I use. That's how I roll. Okay, these are his little hands, and whoops, I got to get them right because one is going to cover this. Okay, so actually, I'm going to do them like so. These are hard little babies to hold on to. So I am going to definitely use my hemostats. Lay it down that way. Here's my other one. Give him a quick coat. See if I can go ahead and do this bottom part of this one. I tend to only paint the sides once, sometimes twice if I deem it necessary. Like if I miss a lot, usually if I'm tired at night or something, I'll go back the next day and be like, oh, what was I doing? And I'll paint it more than once. But typically only once. The sides. Now, the top, usually twice, Just depends. When you're using this birch plywood, sometimes you'll get, to me, it'll kind of raise up in spots. Now I'm going to go back over this face again because I got some red there. I got red everywhere. I just was not being as careful as I guess I should have been. And go down here. Just put a quick coat on it just to make sure that I cover all that red up. I say all that red, it was just a few specks, but I could definitely see it. Okay, so got that. What is that right there? That needs to come off. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, there it goes. Whatever it was, there it went. I think that's something in my brush. Okay, let's see here. Alright, I'm pretty, oh, I did not mean to go off that line. Oh well, it happens. I can fix it real quick with the green. Just pick it up just a hair here. And well, I'm gonna let that dry a minute and come back and fix that. Now, what color do we want to paint his package? I am thinking, let me grab a drink real quick. Do we want to go electric lime? I don't think that would look bad. I think so. I think we're going to go with the electric lime. Just to give it a little more color. We'll see how bright that is. If I don't like it on there, then we'll... Actually, I do. I think it's going to be just fine. I need a little bit smaller brush. I grabbed the wrong brush out of there. I was meaning to grab one of these 1/4 inch brushes. I keep saying I'm going to go to the store and get some more brushes, and I haven't been. Just follow your lines. Okay, now his stockings. I need to put a second coat there. I'm just going to do all kinds of touch-up tonight. If you're unlike me and can stay in the lines, you'll be fine. Normally I can, I just don't know what I'm doing tonight. I want this shape right here, though. I want this to be, okay, this is his neck. That's where the rounded should be. And you'll see when I come back with the the black at the end. But I do think his ear should be a little bit bigger down here. That's just me, because his other ear's a little bigger. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. And it is on the pattern. I just, a minute ago when I filled that in, I filled in too much. Or too little. Too much with the green, I should say. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that, finally. Now, on the candy cane, I don't recommend that you paint it all red, or you could paint it all white and then paint red over it in the spots that it's going to be red. But don't paint it red first and then do the white over it, because the red will bleed through eventually, period, no matter what. It might be next year when you pull it out, you'll see it. So take just a few minutes, and it's okay to spend just a few minutes and actually paint each stripe. I had already put the lines on this before, and yours comes with, let's see, that one's white, so this one will be red. It's coming out from under here. Okay. Like I said, I had already put the stripes on mine with the pattern, or the drawing, I should say. And I just got white paint all over my hands. I know you can't see it, but I did. Now I'm going to go back with the white stripes. It doesn't take but a minute to do this. And if you don't want to paint the edges of this, I totally get that. I probably won't. When you seal it, it will also make the laser smell go away. If there is one, sometimes there's not. It depends, honestly, if I cut it the same day it's ordered or the next couple days, you'll probably have an odor when you get them. It's natural. Most people know about it, but I always just like to make sure people know. Okay, so now we've got to do, sorry, I had to get another drink. This time of year, my sinuses and allergies are just horrible. All right, we're going to paint his little light bulbs. I'm going to paint one of them this lighter green. Again, I'm using my hemostats to hold them. I will get the sides on these since I can. And we'll put that right there. Well, let's see. The top of that. Okay. Now, what color am I going to do these? I want them to stand out. While I'm deciding that, I'm going to go back over here and give this a second coat. Okay, let's see. Well, I'd say we could do one red, but I don't think they'll show up too well. What colors are there typically? There's yellow, let's do a yellow one. Lovely. I'm just making a mess tonight. I'm going to use opaque yellow on one. And let's see. Now, grab a hold of this little guy. My hemostats. This will definitely take 2 coats. The opaque yellow is a good yellow. It's just kind of like the red in pigment. You almost always have to put a couple coats. Plus, your first coat to me is generally considered your base coat anyway. Just my opinion. So, I'm going to do that one yellow. Let's see, I did green, yellow, and what if we did, I guess we could do like a purple or orange. Orange would be good. Let's do an orange. I'm going to do ranchero. Let's see how that looks with all these other colors we got going on. It's kind of a peachy orange. It's not going to be your bright orange. You flip this guy over. I want to paint this side. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, so we're going to hold this by the top. You don't want to be too rough on these little pieces because you can damage them when they get smaller like this. And I'm actually, these are the balls for the tree. I'm going to paint them the same 3 colors. Oh, I didn't want to paint them all the same color. I wanted the same 3 colors. I better let that one dry. Go with this one being green. Get a little bit more on that guy. There we go. He's wanting to hang on there. And then maybe, I don't know if I can go over that one with the yellow yet or not, but we're going to find out. Might be too soon. But then I can go back over this one. We will go back to this green one. Now when your pieces get this small, if you choose not to paint the sides, I totally get it. I only recommend it to people that can't stand the laser smell. It doesn't bother me, but I do think it gives it a more finished look. Okay, we are getting there. We're almost there, actually. Let's see, what have we got to do? I didn't take that hat far enough up here, I don't think. Or the tree. Not sure what I was thinking here. His hat needs to go on to the tree. Well, not to the tree, but yeah, kind of to the tree and to the end of his hat. Oh, and I forgot to get, there's a little star that'll go up here, and yours will come with a star, but I forgot to pull it out this afternoon, so I'm not going to paint that. Oh, let's get this rain going here. The star will cover most of this, but just in case it doesn't cover something, you want to make sure that you got everything covered that you wanted covered. Let that dry a minute. Now down here, your package will come with your picture will have the ribbon on it. I personally am just going to wing it. That needed some touch-up. I'm just going to wing it over here with the ribbon. So I'm thinking, do I want to use that lighter blue? Let's see how that'll look. I think I will. We're going to try and see. Now, like I said, yours will have a ribbon drawn, so you don't have to worry about winging it, as I say. But I'm okay with it. And you can even do a little line across. Whenever I wing it, I usually end up having to go back and do a little touch up though. But that's okay. I don't mind. Now then, I think I keep forgetting his body parts. I need to get his little nose painted. Get a thin coat of flesh tone. And since I've got this out, I'm going to go back over these two real quick. Okay, while we're waiting on some of this to dry, because I need to go over this yellow again. Well, first I'm going to paint the tops of these. Just a light gray, nothing spectacular, drizzle gray. Now today, I'm actually not going to attach mine before at the end, because I'm going to run a string. There's actually 290 little holes for these light bulbs, so I am going to run a string through them. And that'll take me a minute or several once, knowing me, because I am no good at stuff like that. Okay, so I feel like his stockings need yet another coat. I don't think they filled in enough. Let me get some of this paint out of this brush. And we'll go over these again real quick. Okay, there we go. Now, while I'm waiting on some of this other stuff to dry, I'm going to start my outline process. I use I'm going to use two sizes of Posca pens. One is called the pen type, and the other is the next size up, which is, I can't read these very good. PC3M. Actually, I think that's two sizes up from this one. But when I'm drawing on the item, I use the smaller. When I'm going along the edges, I actually use the larger. And I'm just going to kind of follow along. Well, we'll start with his face here. And kind of follow along the edge. And I'm going to come back and catch this outside edge here. And see how I kind of accidentally made that too big? I just went back and made it all big. That is kind of how I roll. Okay, now we're going to draw there. And draw there. Around the edge there. Going to go along his tights. And I'm even going to go around his ribbon. It actually still feels just a hair wet. So I probably should wait, but I'm being impatient. And you really shouldn't be impatient. So I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to go along here. Along here. His little ears. Now, if you notice with the smaller one, I'm still only doing stuff that is on top of the wood. That is personal choice. You can use the smaller one to go along the edges. I just don't feel like I have as much control with the smaller one along the outside edge. So I stick this T91 to the inside only. And when I get out of my lines like that, I just make it a little bigger. It doesn't hurt anything. If you have to, you can come back and touch up with paint. And I have had to. Usually when I was painting tons of yard art at night, late at night, I'd get basically to where I didn't feel like I could see. I could, but you know what I mean. You get so tired. Okay, so we're going to follow this up to there. Now, I'm going to go back down to his little stockings here. And we're going to give him a little bit of a line like so. Now to go around, I don't know if that's dry enough yet. Fill that in. And I think it is, so we're going to follow this on along. It is quite hard to talk when you're doing this, in my opinion. But Now, if you use these Posca pens, you really need to wait 24 hours before you can spray seal it. If you're going to hand seal it, I recommend you only use a Sharpie. And what I mean by hand seal is if you're going to paint your sealer on, don't use these Posca pens. They will bleed some. They don't if you spray it on, but if you hand paint it on, they do bleed some, in my opinion. Now, the reason I use this bigger one to go around the outside edge is because I feel like I can put half of it on the edge and half of it off the edge, if that makes sense. So I feel like I have a little more control of it. Is it usually a little bit bigger? Usually, but is it enough to be noticed? Not typically. Just try to keep, like I said, half of it on the edge and half of it off the edge. And I do go along everything. I will come back. This is part of his hat, so I'll come back and add that extra. Okay. There is that so far. Oh, it wasn't on camera, but my paint ran everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to give him 2 little eyeballs and his little mouth. Go right there, and then I think for his eyebrows, I'm going to come back with this smaller. To me, it's easier to sometimes turn them upside down. Give him a little paint there. Now for his ears, I'm just going to put like little commas, kind of. Okay, there's that. And we've basically got him to where I can almost start gluing him together. I always end up with paint all over me. I am going to come back with the white and go ahead and paint in his little ball on the end of his hat. Almost. There we go. Let all that dry. His mouth is pretty wet. It's going to take a bit for it to dry. And then what you'll basically do is you'll come along here and you'll glue your little bits on. Like I said, I'm not gluing these on tonight only because I want to put a string in these bulbs. But you'll glue your little bits on. Glue his hand there. You'll do your Christmas balls. And you glue his little hands on. Oh, I'm going to have to paint that stripe. I'm going to have to refigure that stripe out because I messed that up. Okay, you'll do your hands. And you got a cute little elf. I don't want to get that in his mouth because it's really wet. Alright guys, that's basically it. It took right at, what, an hour to do that maybe? I I do have some more outlining to do, and I messed up on the candy cane stripe. I'll have to go back and fix that. But I'll show you a finished piece um, here in the comments. So thank you guys for stopping in.